forever. And then the psalmist, with these two reasons, the first one being someone's done something for you that they didn't have to do, God's goodness, and they've done something for you that you couldn't do for yourself, God's mercy, he brings to the front a few witnesses who have been redeemed. The first group is those who have been wandering. They've been wandering, and you can just picture this in your mind. They were from one of Israel's expeditions when they were leaving in the wilderness from some captivity. We can picture these people. Their souls are about to faint due to dehydration. And these people are ready to die because there's no bread or food in this weary land. And then what happens is they almost die, but similarly, we as Christians often go through wilderness. Some of us have been through a hopeless hiatus. We have been in a weary wilderness or in a desert of despair. We may have been in a similar wilderness or dry land, but it's funny what God can do when you are in a dry place. Because you may be in a dry place in your ministry. You may be in a dry place at work. You may be like T-Pain, you've been chopped and screwed and you're in a dry place in your relationship. But God wants you to know that regardless of your financial, your social, your psychological, your mental dry place, he wants you to know the only reason you've been wandering through that place is so that he can kill some things off that shouldn't be there anyway. You're in this wilderness so that you can kill off the doubt, kill off those bad mentalities, kill off those bad attitudes. That's why you've been wandering. That's why you're still in your dry place, because God is trying to get some stuff out of you. But when you get to the point where you're at your breaking point and you're almost as dry as you can get, God wants you to get so dry, so providentially parched that you say, as a deer pants after the water brook, even so does my soul pass after thee, my God. He wants you to realize at that point of your dry place that what's going to happen is, Brother Rose, I'm going to do a new thing. If you look at this text, it's very similar to the Isaiah passage when he says, I'm going to cause the road to be in the wilderness. I'm going to cause that dry place to turn into pools of water. So somebody should start thanking God that your dry place is starting to spring up rivers of water. You should start thanking God that that new thing is on the way, that new job, that new finance, that new relationship is on the way. Not just because I want to tell you to turn around, back five people, but because when you humble yourself and you start praising God in your wilderness, when you start doing that, what happens is you realize that the wilderness is only temporary. It's not permanent. You're only going to do it so you can get to your promise. Oh, that men would give thanks to the Lord. Let the redeemed from dry places say so. Then the second group he calls for is this group who has been in a dark place and a dungeon. And the passage could be possibly allegorically juxtaposed to how we are in the dungeon of sin, death, and hell, and we have been under the labor of the law, and he's been keeping us bound. But there is good news. God did something for us by his mercy that we could not do for ourselves. There's good news today that what happened is that due to God's goodness and loving kindness and his mercy and steadfast love, that he demonstrated his love toward us. And that while we were yet sinners, Christ died. And after Christ died, he went down to hell, kicked the back door out of the grave. Then he looked back condescendingly and said, "Oh, death, where is your sting? And oh, grave, where is your victory?" Then he showed up a little later, talked to God and said, "I am he that lived, was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and I have the keys of death and hell." And he's able to destroy the third school of death and hell. He's able to break into the bars of iron. He's able to destroy those shackles that are keeping you bound to addiction, bound to bad study habits, bad people that are in your life. He's able, so all you have to do is humble yourself and cry and unto the Lord. Because when you cry unto the Lord, whoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. That's what the book says. So somebody should thank him for their deliverance. Oh, that men would give thanks to God. Let the redeemed from bondage say so. And then the third group he calls for is those who have been foolish. Many of us can prudently and And from that standpoint, understand where the foolish are coming from. Because we know that we ourselves have been in some foolish situations. We've been some places we shouldn't have been. We've done some things and said some things to people we shouldn't have. And even still, we realize that all of our goodness, we still have some foolishness in our life. Some of this folly, and I was thinking about what T.I. said. Some of us got caught up looking at saying she can have whatever she likes or he can have it. But what the problem is you messed around and got foolish. The next thing you were like T-Pain, she all on me. And you were in a foolish situation. I'm talking to somebody in here today. You've been laying places you shouldn't have laid. You drank things you shouldn't have. Why? Because of your folly. But it's so good to know that even in our foolishness, what God does, he allows us to come to an epiphanic pivotal point like the prodigal son when we come to ourselves and we realize that what we were doing we shouldn't have done. We realize that God brought us from a long way and where shouldn't be in that situation. It is all because of his goodness and his mercy. So somebody should thank God for the situation you were in that only God could bring you out. Somebody's been in those kind of situations. Even though the situations may produce repercussions, they birth repercussions after you've done this foolishness. God's grace is supremely sufficient to cover it all, and his strength is made perfect in your weakness. That's another reason to give thanks. So somebody who was foolish, let those redeemed say so.